Are you skipping your warm-ups and jumping straight into the action? Well, it's time we had a little chat about that. Look, I'm just going to give it to you straight. There are two main reasons why we perform warm-ups before doing intense physical activity. First of all, it's to reduce the chances of acute or chronic injury. By warming up our muscles, lubricating our joints, warming up our heart, that kind of thing. The second reason is it improves our performance. Regardless of whether we're exercising, performing, or competing, we're going to get a boost to our performance if our bodies are primed for action. That's simple. Simple! But don't take my word for it, let's have a look at the research. Out of 5 studies done on the effectiveness of warming up on reducing the risk of injury in humans, 3 of the studies found that performing a warm-up prior to performance significantly reduced the risk of injury, whereas the other 2 studies found that warming up was not effective in significantly reducing the number of injuries. In conclusion, there's insufficient evidence to endorse or discontinue routine warm-up prior to physical activity in preventing injury among sports participants. However, the weight of evidence is in favor of decreasing risk of injury. There you go. So what makes for a good warm-up? Well, in a nutshell, it's about getting the heart pumping. Nice and gently, bringing it up to a more active heart rate and pumping those nice fluids all throughout the body. It's also about getting those muscles moving, literally warming up the muscles and getting them ready for their full range of motion, gradually in a nice gentle fashion, so they're less likely to develop little micro tears in them and less likely to tear anything in the tendons and ligaments. It's also for lubricating the joints, getting all that synovial fluid coursing through the joints so that they're all well lubricated and less likely to develop into chronic joint pain or anything like that. That's basically it. The great thing about warm-ups is they don't have to conform to any kind of rigid routine. You can be as creative as you like with them. As long as you start off with warming up your heart, and then you warm up your muscle groups, and then you warm up your joints. Otherwise, go nuts. You can start off with throwing punches out there in midair or punching a punching bag. You can jog around the yard or around the gym, wherever you happen to be. You can jump on an exercise bike. You could even do a stupid little dance, like the Village Idiot or something. I don't know. It's up to you. It's your warm-up. From there, ideally, you want to warm up the muscle groups that you're expected to use in whatever physical activity you're about to perform. Such as if you're doing a push-pull exercise routine, like a bench press and rows, or push-ups and pull-ups, you can do an easy variation of those exercises, just to about 12 reps or so. Just very light and easy, just to get those muscles primed for that movement, for that activity. And then do some dynamic stretches. Now I say that very carefully because emphasis on dynamic stretching, not static stretching. Static stretching is when you hold a limb or body part at its full range of motion in that one position for an extended period of time, feeling that stretch. No, that's not what I mean. Dynamic stretching is moving the limb up to roughly maximum range of motion, quickly and gently. A good example of this is doing hip releases. Start off by doing these knee kicks, starting off relatively low and then getting higher as you progress, and then afterwards progressing to hip kicks with the full leg, full extension of the leg. And again, start small and work your way up to roughly 90% of your maximum range of movement in that limb. Not too much higher than that. Lastly, rotate all those joints. You can start with the ankles or start with the wrists, whichever way. Just make sure you go through the whole body or whatever limbs you're expected to use primarily in the exercise. So rotate those wrists, move to the elbows, and from there move to the shoulders, can go both directions, and you can do the same with your lower body as well. Start with the ankles, move up to your knees, up to your hips, and even do rotations from either side. That's also very good. So that's a good warm-up in a nutshell. I haven't been very specific about what is an ideal warm-up because it is a very personal thing. As a personal trainer, when I'm training my clients, I try and get them to find a warm-up that they enjoy, something that they like to do, and just let them sort that out themselves. Because it really is just light, easygoing activity. And if it's something you really enjoy, then that's motivating you for the workout. And my workouts are usually pretty intense, so I want people motivated. As for how long a warm-up should go for, minimum of about 6 minutes. Professional athletes will warm up for 10 minutes to half an hour, maybe longer. But for what we do, 6 to 8 minutes is a pretty good place to start. So start off with about 5 to 10 minutes of light activity, and then move on to your dynamic stretches and your joint rotations. That's all you need. Then you can get into the action. Well, that does it for this episode. Keep watching for the next one, which is going to be all about cool downs. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.